Let's have fun with it.
Let's have fun with it. Well, we're live. I'm live with Shawn Q, and he is with his right hand man Brian. They've created Abundance Now. It is a summit, and it's for coaches by coaches. Is that correct? I want to make sure I'm getting this right.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, and Shawn, because like you're new to my community, just tell me a little bit about you, and I'd love to know like putting summits together is a lot of work. Yeah, I'm sure you go crazy. But talk to me like why? Why a summit and why is this so important to you?
Okay, listen, last year we had 53 speakers, and I said I will never have 53 speakers ever again. And so we decided this year we're going to do 75 instead. So technically, I kind of honored my commitment. But we went overboard. And here's why: we had hundreds of applications come
Mm,
through, and so many qualified speakers who are passionate and on a mission that is very similar to ours. Listen, I
yeah,
believe every single person on the planet deserves to live a life of abundance. Abundance is a reality to us today. If we go back 1,000 years ago, or even 200 years ago, life was very different. I mean, let's think about medication and our access to over the counter medication. Let's think about resources we have like
yeah,
food. I mean, 200 years ago, 500 years ago, you couldn't go to Taco Bell or get Chinese food or get Ghana food. Like you used to have a variety of food available now for the majority of the world, and so abundance is a reality to us. We have access. I mean, right now I'm literally in a room and talking to you in a
right,
completely different room using
right.
technology we didn't have access to,
In a
and
different state, in a different right, like I mean, right.
different time zone. I think like it's just
Yeah,
wild what we have access to now. And so I believe coaches change the world, and the way they do that is by asking powerful questions, listening deeply, and giving people the space to really listen in. There are
yeah,
truths that we already know that we just haven't
right.
given ourselves permission to acknowledge. And when a coach can come in and slow you down and say, hey, let's actually explore what's the most meaningful part of what you're doing today. Are you
Right.
truly fulfilled? Is this what you really want to be doing? Possibilities begin to get unlocked. And so we believe in empowering coaches, in helping coaches step into their leadership role. And your session actually was mind blowing because it was all about visibility and
Yeah.
how to leverage visibility the right way. I like took a bajillion notes, by the way. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like genius.
I kept watching the clock, so I'm like, they said I had 20 minutes and I'm going over. I never go over. What is going on? Yes. So I did what's interesting, what I love and what my community, I really would love you to tune in because this is something I haven't spoken about before. This is a new, you think you've seen everything Tracy's got in her little toolbox of visibility. It's not true. And so my topic is the pro podcasting playbook. And many of my community is probably going, you don't have a podcast. And it's true, right? But I am an expert interviewer and I have been interviewed so many times and it's really all the same things. And so what I did was create a playbook for the host and the guest, right? So that you both show up. And again, as a podcasting host, you have to be a skilled interviewer. And that is not just something you wake up and know how to do. And then as an expert, you want to be a highly sought after guest. And that also is not something you can take a little blue pill and be ready for. And so I just think podcasts specifically offer such an amazing opportunity on both ends because you have your own podcast, you're reaching new people and can collaborate. As a guest, you're able to borrow somebody else's audience. You're able to step in and say like, hey, I'm an expert and it's one of my favorite things to do and I'm picky about it, right?
Yeah.
And so that's something we talk about on there is being super duper picky about where you allow yourself to show up and with what audiences you align with.
Yeah. Now, I have to say I've done challenges with our clients before where it's like do 30 podcasts, get a guest on
Yeah.
30
Yeah.
podcasts within the next 30 days. It's 30 podcasts in 30 days.
Wow. Wow.
And I was like, oh my gosh, I totally ill-equipped them to go do this based off of everything I'm learning in this
Well,
session. It's so
next time
cool.
you do it, but next time, Shawn, I'll come in as a guest and I'll help
Literally.
them. It's like, yeah, yeah,
Because in 20 minutes, you broke down the exact framework, and not
yeah,
just framework, but the exact like tactics. I was
yeah.
like, oh my gosh, I didn't even think I should consider what am I wearing and doing a little bit of research on the person so I could bring it up. And in your session, you brought up I'm a huge fan of Star Wars, and my favorite movie is Jurassic Park. And I was like, oh my gosh, how did she know that? And it's a quick Google or Facebook search. Like, I talk about it all the time.
I texted Brian.
I love it. And so, like, these small tactics that you can leverage that make such a meaningful difference. I
Yeah.
remembered our session because you pulled me into the conversation
Right.
and made me feel special. So how many times does a podcaster interview hundreds of podcast guests and nobody ever does research on them? Like,
Doesn't do research. Yeah, like again, like I mean, why do you want to have a podcast? Why do you want to be a podcast guest? Is to be memorable. You like the thing is there are 2.5 million today, 2.5 million podcasts out there, and so that's a lot of noise.
Yeah.
So do something differently. Like put some effort into it. Make sure you're really, like tuning in and saying like this is what I want to be doing and bring to the world and how you do it because then a lot of times people I think they like shortchange themselves on being the expert in something. Like Brian could have said, I'd love for you to do this thing on podcasting. And I would be like, it's not really my wheelhouse. Instead, I was like, yes, fantastic. I've been wanting someone to ask me about that. And I will tell you something funny happened to me, Shawn, and this will make sense to Shawn, because they sent to me, I was on an interview today, and all they sent was arrive camera ready. And I thought, at least they're letting me know we're going to be on video. Thank goodness. But it felt so like, and let's say I wasn't a video pro. What does that mean to show up? Right. Like, so I love it because I'm going to do a whole post about that is like, send them to my YouTube videos, right? Like all of these things so that like be helpful. So if you're a podcaster and you are going to record the video, which you should record the video, have a video that like you can send people to. Use mine. Go to my YouTube channel and steal it, right? And just say like, come camera ready. Not sure what that means. Go check out Tracy's video on, right? Like it's that easy to do. But again, thinking through like as a host, what does my guest need to do? How can they feel completely supported? And then on the guest end, if you're not feeling completely supported, what do I need to do to speak up to make sure that I understand how this is going to go so that I can show up as my best self?
Yeah, I absolutely love it. And I kind of want to bring this full circle because I think a lot of times people count themselves out. You mentioned this slightly, which is they don't give themselves enough credit to be the expert and to show up as the expert or to prepare the expert. And one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about abundance is because even though we have a world of abundance that we're living in, people are still limited by scarcity. They're still limited by subconscious beliefs and their own psychology and their own stories and narratives. And so I'm on a mission to shift to that, to open up people's eyes to see the abundance available to them. And so some of the work that our speakers have done in some of the sessions, because here's the good news. First of all, join the summit. If you're like, I want
summit now, and I'll put my link in there for you. Come join us.
It's my favorite 4-letter F word. It's free. So go get it for free. Put the link, she's going to put the link as soon as you put now, and start with her video. Start with Tracy's video. Here's the good news. If you're also struggling to get visible with your brand, if you're also struggling to build a personal brand, if you're struggling to, or you have a hard time showing up on social, or you have a hard time with all these other things that are required to build your coaching practice, there are 75 other sessions that you're going to get free access to. So start with Tracy's, watch hers because it's a download of information, and go take action, and then go get the other resources that you need, which are really cool. Tracy, we'll end with this question. What do you think the biggest mindset limitation people have or belief people have that stop them from saying, you know what, I'm going to show up on podcasts, I'm going to get visible, I'm going to be the authority?
It's that they're not the authority. And I hate to say, I don't like imposter syndrome because I don't think you're an imposter to someone. I feel like it's more of a comparison game. Is what you're seeing or what we're exposed to are all of these big influencers, and they're sharing how they're making all of this money, and they're like, I call it, like having my mail order bride and my rented jet and and it's all, so this is constantly being, you're not good enough. You're not good enough. You're not doing enough, because a lot of the coaching, and that's why I love that yours is abundance, because we all can be living in abundance, but you do have to see it. So I think I think one of the biggest limitations is that we aren't enough, right? And so that we're not good enough, we don't have enough skills, whatever it is. And I can just say bull malarkey, right? Bull malarkey. And the thing I like to work with my clients on is taking imperfect action. I always say imperfect action over perfect inaction every day of the week, right? So you're going to get better at things. You have to embrace. I talked with Heather yesterday. We were talking about embracing the suck. That's
Yeah.
video, that's podcasting, that's anything. Like the first time you do it, it's going to be scary. It's going to be, it might be way better than you think it actually is going to be. I want you to encourage, to go in like that, but then you'll get better, and then you'll get better, and then you'll get better. And the connections you can make through podcasting, like being a guest or having your own, are incredible. So I don't want people to miss out on that opportunity to really kind of be seen and heard and get their expertise out there into the world.
So good. Okay, listen, if you're a coach and this is the year that you're going to start getting visible. This is the year that you're going to start being a guest on podcasts. Maybe you're going to do that 30 guest in 30 days challenge.
Yeah.
Maybe this is the year for you that you begin to see yourself as the expert and see yourself as the authority. This is a great first step. This is your energetic commitment to yourself to say, yes, I am going to do these things. So go ahead and put put hashtag now in the chat, and
I gotcha.
we will make sure to get that to you, and we'll see you on the inside.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Shawn, for being here.
You're amazing. Thanks so much, Tracy.
Thank you. Now we got to keep smiling. Keep smiling. This is what I was doing with Heather